Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review, and I'm here today to talk to you about my thoughts on the Jade Cargill heat backstage in WWE locker room and analyzing her flaws in her first title run. So, I've been meaning to make this video for a while. I'm glad I put it off because wow. The stuff that's going on Twitter between her, Rhea Ripley, Chelsea Green, and Piper Niven is like insane and everything. I have no idea if it's a work or not, but it's very entertaining to see it play out live and everything. And so my thoughts on that is that, there's probably a lot of female wrestlers who are probably upset that Jade is the champion and Jade doesn't really do nothing as champion. She barely has a promo. She's only been in one feud. Technically one and a half. The whole B-Fab and Meechin thing didn't really go nowhere because they both got hurt. And when they both came back, they got no pop. Her mic skills and her her arguing with somebody back and forth is little to none, and her booking completely sucks. And so we don't really know if her wrestling has improved, only because of the simple fact she hasn't really wrestled that much. And so there has to be a bunch of women who were in line for the title. But then all of a sudden, Jade comes into the WWE and Triple H wants to make her the next big thing. And she has beaten a lot of big talent. She's beaten that of Asuka, Naomi, whoever she tags with when she was the champion. Let's see, Piper Niven, Ava Fire. She's also beaten Tiffany Stratton. And, what's her name? Nia Jax. And I think maybe even, what's her name? Charlotte Flair, I think. In different matches and stuff. And so a lot of people, like myself, keep saying Jade is just not ready. She's not ready to be a champion. Now, what do I mean when I say that as opposed to everybody else? My opinion of her not being ready is, it's not that she's a horrible wrestler, and it's not that she's horrible on the mic. It's just the simple fact that she needs some polishing. She, isn't the greatest wrestler, and she's not the greatest on the mic skill set. Even though she can wrestle and everything, it's just she can't do it very, very well. And so, and it's really baffling, because I said before, she also beat Jordan, Grace. Not Jordan Grace. Jordis Grace. I don't know how she says her first name, but anyway. So it's kind of it's baffling, because I said before she needs to go to NXT. That's where she should have went when she first came to WWE, but she didn't, which is really weird, because so many other wrestlers who are very capable of being women's champ and who have been women's champ in other companies have all gone to NXT and have had a lackluster performance there. Mariah, what's her name? Monroe, or whatever her name is, that Marilyn Monroe looking type person. She is in NXT and she's not doing much. I'm just gonna call her Jordan Grace. She barely won any matches in NXT and never won a single belt. And so it's just kind of weird, because here you have Jade, who was a mid-card champion in AEW, and then she comes to WWE and they automatically put the tag titles on her. And of course, why did they put the tag titles on her? Because they realized she's not ready and she needed somebody to help anchor her and everything. and that was Bianca Belair. Now, I have noticed certain things about Jade as a wrestler in the WWE, especially since she's been champion. They've been working around her flaws. And if you watch wrestling as long as I have, you can kind of start to see what it is that they're skirting around. And I'm a former wrestling fan. And even I can still spot this stuff out, which a lot of people can't. And I've been seeing so many people defend Jade online. And, it's kind of like, do y'all not see what everybody else is seeing? Like, seriously, there is flaws in, her ability to be a worker and everything. Now, don't get me wrong. There are other wrestlers who I feel like are in the same category as her and could be a little bit more worse than her. But with Jade, I want her to succeed in the WWE. She has an amazing look. She wasn't originally like a wrestler and wanted to do wrestling. I forget what she originally did. She might have been a basketball player. I'm not sure. I know Lash was, but I forget originally what she was and everything. And so with this great look and everything, she could be the next big thing in wrestling if she could just improve on certain things. But there's other people I have problems with in wrestling, like Tiffany Stratton. Tiffany Stratton has horrible mic skills. Tiffany Stratton still botches every single week, and nobody wants to point that out. Like the Elimination Chamber, she botched that and busted her mouth open and everything. It's weird. It's like every match she has, there's one point in time in the match she botches. Laura Valkyria, she botches a lot. You know what I'm saying? And there's other wrestlers who aren't always that great at stuff. Don't get me wrong. I love Lita. Like, Lita's one of my all-time favorites. But let's keep it real for a second. When she did wrestle in WWE back in the day, she always looked sloppy. She never ran around the ring like a wrestler. She just had her own style that looked kind of like turkey jerky looking and stuff. And she always constantly kept getting hurt. Then you have Trish Stratus, another person I love to death, but let's face it, Trish's skills on the mic weren't always that great. And so, there are other been wrestlers out there that are, similar to Jade, but they can still get the work done and everything. And the WWE didn't have to skirt around them. And yes, of course, booking is a problem. Road Dogg is a problem. But there are other things about like Jade that, she has to take the blame for herself. So, let's talk mic skills, which is funny because she wants to be Storm in the MCU, but she can't even dish out a real promo and everything. Now, her mic skills, they need work. And I started to notice something. The WWE skirts around her mic skills. How do I know this? Well, in the past, I never paid attention to them. But then I started to notice something as she became champion. She only comes out for like 30 seconds, says a few lines, and ends everything with, "I'm that bitch." But then have you noticed something? When she gives a promo for 30 seconds, there's never nobody in the ring with her. She always comes out by herself, and then as she's leaving, somebody will probably come in then, only for her to start shouting at them or staring them in the eye. So I've been wondering, why the heck is nobody in the ring with her when she's cutting her 30-second promo? And then when you do see her talk, is normally when she's in a promo with somebody else, she's attacking them from behind like a typical heel. But it happened on more than one occasion with Jordynne Grace. And I'm just kind of like, even at a pay-per-view, and it's just like where she's not even wrestling. She went and attacked Jordan Grace, I think when they was in the Rumble and everything. And it's like, or someplace they was at in that other country. And I'm just kind of like, why isn't she saying nothing? Why is she attacking them from the back? And then I started to go back at her old stuff when she was tagging with that Bianca, and also when she was feuding with Naomi. And I noticed something. Naomi and Bianca did the bulk of like the promo and everything. Then Jade will chime in for like a short bit. So this told me right here, right now, not only does her mic skills need improving, but she can't convincingly feud with somebody face to face and everything. And that's because her mic skills just aren't that good. And so if you're going to have a promo with somebody, feuding with somebody, you got to be able to dish it out. And sometimes you might have to ad-lib some stuff and go a little off script. But if she is not capable of doing that, then there's no point in having her feud with somebody verbally, like face to face. Because let's not forget what happened to Charlotte Flair and that of Tiffany Stratton. Tiffany Stratton got under the skin of Charlotte Flair, and every time somebody gets under her skin, she fumbles on the mic. Or when she's embarrassed, she will fumble on the mic like she did at the announcer stand with Michael Cole when she said she put herself through a table because she needed to wake herself up. And so if Jade starts to fumble at the mic and everything, it's gonna make her look like a champion who just can't cut the mustard. Cause then I went back and I looked at some of her AEW stuff, and her promo skills sucked back then. And so this is why Jade can feud better with a person online than she can on a mic, because all she has to do online is just tap at her device and everything. And so the WWE skirts around her mic skills because they're just not that great. And it makes her a non-compelling champion who can't argue with somebody in the ring for more than like 5 seconds of attacking them from behind and shouting at them. Because of the simple fact, she keeps talking about she's all this and she's all that and she's so tough and everybody's scared of her and she's that bitch. But then it's like there's nobody in the ring to challenge her. Last but not least, her wrestling skills. She still is not ready. Why? After she became champion, Booker T confessed online he had to train her in September of 2025. And it's like, hold up. She's had training in AEW. Bryan Danielson had to train her. Mark Henry had to train her. And now that she's in the WWE, she had to go to developmental with that story angle of her being injured by Naomi. She was in developmental. So she had training there. And then now she has to have training by Booker T. Now, Booker T literally says that she's smart enough to know she needs some practice and everything. And so it's like, how many times is she going to have to be trained before they put her in NXT? You know what I'm saying? And why in the world would they put the belt on her if she still needs training till this day? And it wasn't nobody else who told her, hey, you need more training. Go to Booker T. She went by herself and everything because she realized she's not all there wrestling wise. Not only that, but since being a champion, she has only wrestled 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, probably about 4 people at the most. And she's been champion since last year, since I forget which pay-per-view it was. So it's kind of like, it's odd. It's like she hasn't been in that many feuds and she hasn't wrestled that many people. She's only been feuding or wrestling with mid-card people, but people on the low spectrum of the mid-card and everything. Michin and B-Fab are not heavy hitters in the WWE. Their time has ran stale. Same with Alba Fire, who used to be an NXT champion, but is literally just a henchwoman at this point for Chelsea Green. And I told you before, like, I forget how the match was with B-Fab and like Michin. Now, she did a couple of house shows where both of them got injured while wrestling her, so that's convenient. But like that match with Alba Fire, it was a squash match. But Jade was not doing the squashing. Jade was getting her butt handed to her all throughout that match. And Jade barely wrestled in that match. And then when she finally got the upper hand, it was because of interference. Now, this is weird because it was two heels fighting each other, but they positioned Jade as kind of like a face in that match because she was the one getting squashed. And this won't be the only time they will do that. Now, she did wrestle in tag matches with Jordynne Grace. And I watched that match and I realized something. Jordynne Grace did the bulk of that wrestling in the match, only for Jade to come in for, I'm not even joking, a few seconds to hit two moves and that's it. That right there told me not only is she not ready, but she can't lead a match. As in like a person, like two people dancing, right? There has to be somebody taking lead. And the same thing goes for wrestling. You know, when you're in a match and you're wrestling one other person, somebody has to take that lead position and start working somebody through that match. Jade never does that because she can't do that and everything. And I'm trying to think of this other match. I guess I'll go to her first title defense on SmackDown, right? They position her in the match like a face. So I'm like, okay, fine. We're finally going to see, has she improved? And no, she hasn't. So in the match, she has a fake injury, like a shoulder injury. And so she's selling her arm like it's hurt, right? And so as she's getting her butt handed to her, she comes out victorious, being able to wrestle with one arm. I'm like, hold up, that's a face thing right there, not a heel thing. A face will get their butt handed to them, be hurt, be injured, be in like a slink or like an arm cast, and be able to muster through that match and prevail. That's what she did and everything with her arm. I'm all like, why are they having the heel face like wrestle like a face and the face wrestle like a heel? That didn't make no sense. And because they wanted to show just how powerful she was to muster through with a hurt arm. But because she was hurt, she was barely wrestling and got her butt handed to her. That right there told me once again, she's not ready and she can't lead a match. She has to have people guide her through. And that's embarrassing for a champion. So I understand the backstage heat when it comes to her because people are kind of like, yo, we've been doing this for years. We can actually wrestle and you're not giving us opportunities. You're like sidelining us for a person who still needs baby steps and like learning how to wrestle and everything. She is literally the female version of Goldberg. And that's really sad and everything because nobody should ever have to be that. And, you know, in honesty, it's not fair that she is champion because I'm kind of tired of seeing her. Well, actually, I am tired of seeing her as champion. I want a champion who has excellent mic skills, who has a personality, and, like, you know, can actually wrestle. And honestly, I wouldn't mind if Chelsea Green were to be champ. Now, here's my problem with Chelsea Green, though. Excellent mic skills, great presence. The only problem I have with her wrestling, she looks loosey-goosey at times. Whenever she hits her moves, they look sloppy, but she's hitting them. That's the thing. And one thing I've noticed about her, and same thing with Piper, is that I've seen them in matches before. They went to NXT for whatever reason. This was a couple of months ago before Piper got hurt. And somebody hit a move on them. And I don't know who botched it. It was either the person hitting the move or it was them who took the move. But they was in the wrong position on the mat. And somebody, ooh, excuse me, my bad. And somebody went to the top rope and was about to hit a high flying move. But they was in the wrong position. And so you see, I saw them, like as they're supposed to be incapacitated on the ground, I see them ever so slightly scooting into position. The person hit their move and they hit it great. And if both of them didn't scoot in the right position, then there would have been a huge botch. Like I said before, I don't know who was put them in the wrong position, but at least they had the wherewithal to know that, hey, I'm too far away from when this person's supposed to hit their move. There's gonna be an accident. So even though I'm supposed to be knocked out unconscious, let me scoot in the right position. I don't see Jade doing that. And one reason why I don't see her doing that is because when she busted herself open, her eyebrow and everything, because she didn't put her hands out to stop herself from hitting like the steel steps. So yeah, I would prefer to see somebody else as like champ. And it's weird because booking is another problem to the whole Jade debacle type thing, you know? Like, you gotta give her somebody to feud with. How in the world is she gonna have 100 days as champ and not be in a feud with nobody and not defend her title? Like, that was just kind of weird and bizarre. And so that just told everybody, yo, she's not ready and you're having to hide her flaws. Now, the 4 women she has backstage heat with. Originally, years ago, it was Shayna Baszler. And nobody knows really what the heck happened between those two and why they had heat. But recently now it's Rhea Ripley. So Rhea Ripley, I think she posted something, I can't remember what, and it pissed Jade off and she decided to chime in and like, you know, because, you know, she's a heel, this is what they do online and stuff like that. And basically Jade talked about how like Rhea is always running her mouth off to creative and everything because Rhea Ripley has an insane push. She's always in the title circuit and, you know, she's one of Triple H's favorites. And some people have even said that Rhea Ripley has a similar look to that of Chyna. Long black hair, like, you know, the black leather outfits, the bra tops, like the underwear, like thing, you know what I'm saying? Very, very Chyna-esque. And of course, who used to date Chyna? Triple H. And who is Rhea Ripley's favorite? Triple H. And of course, they take pictures backstage and this and that. Also, who is currently in a lesbian coded like relationship partnership with Io Sky? Rhea Ripley. And Io, remember, backstage ran up to Triple H and hopped in his arms. Very inappropriate because you're going to have people speculating and everything. So people are right to speculate that maybe, just maybe, Rhea, you know, gets special treatment because she is Triple H's favorite. So Chelsea Green chimed in and this pissed Jade off, wanting to know why Chelsea always sticks her like nose in everybody's business. This is where it got to the point where people think it's no longer a work. Because Piper Niven hopped in and defended Chelsea. Now, of course, Piper and Chelsea are friends in real life, and they've been partners in wrestling for a very long time. Jade and Piper started going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, to where it seems like they really want to fight each other. Now, here's the thing that's interesting about Piper and why this might not be a work. Piper is extremely injured right now with a possible career-ending injury. So even if she were to come back, she can't wrestle nobody. So why in the world is she feuding like this with somebody talking about fighting or taking the title, this and that? And so it's really crazy and odd. Especially Shayna Baszler is back from being suspended, but she works backstage now and doesn't wrestle. So it's kind of crazy how she's feuding with these people online. And with the things that Rhea pointed out was Jay's inability to wrestle and everything, and putting like work in and stuff like that. And so, like I said before, a lot of these women are probably pissed that Jade came in and went straight to like being a tag champion, then did the solo thing, and then became like, what is it, women's champ. And she's just not ready yet. But you know, who is to blame for that? Well, you gotta blame Triple H, because he's the one who like pushed that of Jade very fast. But you gotta blame the fans as well, because what happened when Jade signed to WWE? One of the first things so many people kept saying online is she should face Bianca Belair. Bianca, I believe, was women's champ at that time before she dropped the title. And then her and Jade decided to be tag partners, and then they became tag champs. So the fans, you know, the rest of the creative people, they read what fans say. And they kept saying they wanted Jade to be pushed, and pushed very fast. So that's what they did. And now fans are like, well, we don't want that now. And this is what I said about wrestling fans, and especially WWE fans. They flip-flop so freaking much and everything. And it's like, they don't take accountability when they flip-flop. And the thing that gets me, and the reason why I'm so hard, is like I said before, I want her to succeed. But the thing is, she has flaws. And the WWE is hiding her flaws by working around them. And many wrestling fans are just tired of that. Like, people can see through the deception and everything. She's another Goldberg. She's another Great Khali. And people don't want that no more in wrestling, because there are too many people who work way too hard and who have the skill set that deserve to be champion or deserve to have a push, and they don't get it. And, you know, and that's one reason why I'm so hard on her. And no, it's not because she's black, because I'm black and everything. But it's kind of like, if somebody is champion, you want them to be the best that they can be. You want somebody who can excite you. When you start to see the flaws and you start to see how the WWE is trying to like work around that and hide them, it's frustrating and everything. And that's the one reason why just so many fans are just mad. They're frustrated because they see she needs help, that she doesn't need the title, and that like, this is just not good for business. I mean, instead of being cheered or feared or whatever, people are constantly calling her out online. I'm not talking about the rest, I'm talking about like fans and everything. Like, it's just week after week, day after day. And she claps back. And when she claps back, fans clap back harder. This is affecting her because of the simple fact she doesn't have to reply to none of this. But she does. And, you know, and that tells you right there, it's affecting her and everything. And if somebody is not ready, they don't deserve a push, and they don't deserve a title. Plain and simple as that. She needs to work on her flaws and everything, so she can be that top wrestler. Alrighty, well, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.